One was like Rosie the Riveter, and
Yeah.
Rosie gets fully naked, so it's just like fake tits and a dick hanging out, swinging around. Rosie pulls like a giant bloody tampon out of her ass, and then like puts a bottle into it. And then this other girl she's like pretending to be in a bath and like super sexy, and then she just comes out of the water, stands up on stage, and squirts over everyone. Transvestite person was on stage, and then they like took out the saw and like cut off their own dick, and it just bled everywhere on the front row on stage. Like it's like
A real cutting off? Welcome back to the Smart Nonsense Podcast, where we talk about entrepreneurship, self-development, and challenging them norms. Pop, welcome back to the show, Pop.
welcome back. This is awesome, dude. I'd love
It's
if
great
you
to
had
have you.
a show.
Do we have a show? Is this a show?
Am
Or you would just, oh, he's frozen right off the hook.
I?
No.
Dude, I'm here.
No, you're here. I meant short-circuited.
No. I thought you were talking about, dude. Let me tell you though, really, my T levels are really confused right now.
Get
I
'em
woke
up.
up at like noon.
Get
and-
him up. When you wake up at noon, what time do you go to bed?
2.
What are you doing till 2?
Reading.
Oh. Exploring.
Well, by reading, I mean I didn't read at all. I tried reading for like 1 minute and then immediately knocked out at 2. So when I said reading, what I really meant was I was watching podcasts and stuff on my phone. A lot of Alex Ramosi, dude. I fell back in love with him.
Swatching. Watching.
Um,
When did you fall out in love with him, Pop? It's my show now. It's
dude,
my
it might have
show
to be.
now.
I was really worried my T levels wouldn't be there for the pod, and I don't think they're gonna get there. They're not gonna get there. Maybe Monday is not the best day because
They will. They will.
Well,
They will.
here's the what do you call that? Wrench. Here's where the wrench came out of nowhere, dude. So Saturday was my roommate's girlfriend's birthday, Andy's birthday, and
Yes.
and so they're out of the box people. Easy. I mentioned what we're gonna do. We went to this thing called Box in New York, and I don't know. Have you heard of Box before?
I haven't, but you mean out of the box in like they like to do new things?
Yeah, they're like more open than
Okay.
not. They're just like some people are very conservative. They're a little bit more like fun and into I don't know, whatever.
Okay,
but we go to this
Box.
place. This is gonna explain kind of what I'm trying to get at. Well, it's a full day, so dude, let me give you full context on the weekend. Why I'm so beat up, dude. So
Because while you were at Box, I was in Arkansas.
selling a box on wheels, dude. That's sick. We'll get to that. Well, here's why I like New York. So all my friends are here, for the most part. Well, all my friends, half my friends are here, and a lot of them we're friends because we play sports. And so one of those sports, which is new and upcoming, is pickleball, which
Yes.
we talked about before. We didn't play it properly the first time, but it turns out it's a pretty fun sport. We like it.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and so it's Ice. This other guy Xander, who was on club tennis with us, really good tennis player, and then our other friend Michael, who's not a tennis player but like is just athletic. And so we all sign up for this tournament in a month. That's like a pro pickleball tournament. And so now we had to like go and like when you sign up for the tournament, ask like, hey, what's your rank or whatever, and we didn't know, so we just like put some like 0 rank, and we had to go get qualified this weekend. So basically Friday we spent like 3 hours just playing pickleball with all these random people, and like, dude, the fun thing is no one's used to our energy. Like I don't, you weren't on club tennis, but it was basically like Ice and I, we were kind of the worst ones on the club tennis team, even though we're like relatively good. Our club tennis team just was like the best in the nation. So we just come and we just what was that, dude?
Brown club tennis, best in the nation.
Yeah, we were like top
Really?
10. Yeah.
When does Brown club tennis go to nationals?
Austin went to nationals.
Really?
Yeah, Austin's really good at tennis. He was
He is really
third
good
in
at
our
tennis.
state for tennis.
Okay.
But
Barrel
yeah,
on.
so yeah, barrel, dude. Basically we'd come to practice and we're just like the goofy goobers, and we just call it like we just make a lot of noise and like not be that great at the sport. And so we just had this energy with like 15 other random people trying to get qualified for this tournament, and it was like every side of the spectrum. Basically we were just like buffoons the whole time, and everyone loved us because we were just really loud and fun. Brought a lot of tea. Awesome. But the next day I'm beat up. I still can't really stretch my legs out right now because I'm just really tight. But the next day we have a picnic for this girl Andy's birthday, and it was just like a lot of more sports. They don't really play sports, but I did. Hey, dude, what's the point? A busy day, busy day. And then I took a nap.
Busy bee.
I took a nap, and I woke up at 10 p.m. from my nap on Saturday. Why? Because we're going to Box, dude, and Box is a fucked up place. It's like, you know what Burlesque is?
Yes, love Burlesque.
Okay, it's like Burlesque, like the second order Burlesque, like Burlesque squared. It's like,
and for people who don't know what Burlesque is, it's like a artistic stripping, maybe, or artistic
like,
dancey strippy with masks,
I think
maybe.
it was like old timey. It kind of reminds me of speakeasy, like a speakeasy strip club sort of place.
Yeah, it's like you're not supposed to be there, but you are.
Right. So I went to one before, and I was like, kind of like, okay, they do kind of like weird naked like dancing stuff, but this one is even crazier. So I get there, and it's like,
Fox is fucked up.
It's a tough place to. Yeah, it's really fucked up. Let me just wait. Dude, I talked with my gay barber, and who told me like, why do you have to qualify?
I know. I was gonna say, I love when people they'll just throw that adjective. It'll be like I don't know, someone's race they'll throw in front of there, or their
it's important
sexual
it gives you a lot of context with one word,
but not always.
This will give you context.
Okay.
Well, the gay community, it's like, I feel like the gay community is part of the reason why Box is so crazy. So a lot of gay people go to Box because it's like a cross-dressing sort of shit too. It's not really my cup of tea normally, but I wanted to experience it. So he was saying like it's crazy and telling like stories about that. Basically, we had to get a table to get there, so it ends up being like fucking $3,000 plus. It was probably like $4,000 to go to this fucking place. Dude, every time I spend a cent on nightlife, I'm like, I hate this. I hate every second of it. But this is fine because it's like an interesting show.
Not your day.
And so,
not your day.
The warm up to the show, it's like it starts at around midnight and goes to like 4 a.m. And it's like every like on the hour is like a 15-minute kind of show, and it gets progressively crazier. So the first one is like, I don't know, they have like, I don't know, 10 different acts, but just like a couple of them. One is like this ring. I don't know if you've seen like a Cirque du Soleil, like a person gets in a ring and it's like hanging from the ceiling and they spin around really fast, but it's this really hot naked girl. So I'm like, that's cool. I'll watch that all day. That's
fully naked.
I think it was topless and then like see-through underwear. But that's just like the warm up. And then they have like rollerblades, like roller skates people, and they're also like half naked, spinning around in circles really fast, and like, dude, it was literally like as good as Cirque du Soleil, or however you say that. Amazing start to everything, but then it starts to get weird. And I've heard stories about how weird it gets, but I'll there are basically two acts. Fuck, dude. Oh my god, dude, it's so fucking weird. It was like one of them was like this, maybe three of them. There were three different ones. One was like Rosie the Riveter, but it was like Rosie transvestite, and Rosie gets fully naked, so it's just like fake tits and a dick hanging out, swinging around, and then like Rosie pulls like a giant bloody tampon out of her ass, and then like puts a bottle into it, and I'm like, dude, what on earth am I seeing? And then this other girl she's like pretending to be in a bath and like super sexy, and then she just comes out of the water, stands up on stage and squirts over everyone. I'm like, dude, what am I watching? So it's just that, dude. It was just good old family fun for 4 hours, and I don't know, like, you're seeing the post that whatever this is me like
sleep till noon
trying to get over it.
So you said this isn't your cup of tea. Athena my girlfriend was also at a burlesque thing for a birthday last week, and I wasn't there, but she got home at like 1 or 2, and we woke up the next morning, and she was explaining it to me like you just did, and I had just woken up, and it wasn't that crazy. It wasn't that crazy.
No.
But she was talking about boobs and balls being out and butts and stuff, and I couldn't process it.
Yeah.
Thought I was in a dream,
So
and it sounds like this was 10 times worse,
yeah,
or 10
and
times more exciting, depending how you look at
dude, it's just like
it.
I don't know. You just got to see it. My gay barber was like, yeah, we went to a show and like this let's call him a tranny, like the transvestite person was on stage, and then they like took out the saw and like cut off their own dick, and it just bled everywhere on the front row on stage. Like it's like
a real
really, huh?
a real cutting off,
Well, I think they had this must have been like a fake on
a
fake or something,
prosthetic.
a prosthetic that they just do for this act. But
Oh,
dude,
whoa!
it's like, dude,
How many people
what?
were there?
A couple hundred?
And this is at like 3 in the morning.
Yeah, dude, it
That's
was.
nuts. What did the birthday boy think?
Dude, I
He's
mean,
just like,
they're about it. Like, well, here's the thing, dude. Most relationships are fucking weird. Like, people, people really just like do food together. That's like a normal relationship. It's like, hey, we're gonna go and eat, and then maybe we'll have drinks, and that's all it is. And like
people
half the friends I know.
sometimes a lot of people outside of work only have time for food. Like that's what you do outside of work. You eat dinner.
Right. Or you like go out at night. And that's why the reason why, dude, hey, let me go full half circle on you. The reason why I've fallen back in love with Hormozy is because like I'll have these radical thoughts of like, wow, most relationships are really fucking weird. But by default, that makes me weird because everyone else does a relationship differently. I'm like, I don't want to do it that way. And Hormozy, I listened to him and I sent you a couple where he's like, dude, that's just not how I want to live life. So like if you want to live that way, do your life. But if you want to live my way, hop on this train, and I'm not going to change at all. Like he likes Layla because she didn't change him. It's just like, hey, this is how I want to live life. You either vibe or you don't. I'm like, dude, rock on. I like that a lot.
Dude,
Um,
rock on.
so what was the point there? Hey, I didn't mean to like,
Well, I was gonna
close the
say,
loop on
like,
that.
I don't know if we're gonna roll the Hormozy clip or drop him in the show notes. I don't know if anything's gonna happen with that.
Show notes.
But it was it was a good clip. It was so
there were a lot
hopefully
of good clips.
hopefully people can find that.
Oh, I just dropped these all to my girlfriend of like, hey,
she's your girlfriend.
don't nonsense, dude. I don't know what we are, but basically like this is why I like him so much, and
Hormozy or you?
this is why I like Hormozy so much. And I sent her all the same. I even sent her more than what I sent you, because he's just like super radical too. Like he only wears one outfit. Like he doesn't give a shit about eating out at restaurants. So like Layla always picks because she cares about it. Versus I get mentioned.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Dude. So I've been on a.
So you're
a
recovering
that
from box or
Right.
boxed?
The box is technically
The
what it's
box,
called.
dude.
Right.
Let me tell you, sounds like the
branding.
name. That's sick. I don't know if I have any. I don't know if I can draw
Your
any
weekend
transition
was sick,
into
dude?
a thread. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so we sold the van. We sold that van that we lived in for 6 months, and
Nice.
we wanted to do one last trip in it, which involved driving it to Northwest Arkansas.
Nice, dude.
I've never been.
Nice.
I've never been to that state.
No one has.
I don't know why it's pronounced that way.
It's got to be a native tribe, probably.
Probably, but the Arkansas, the letters, I don't know. They don't add up.
Tough,
but
dude, you're beat up too.
I got kind of beat up by the box story. That was
I'm sorry to
really
take you down with
stimulating.
me, dude.
It was really stimulating just as a story.
Dude.
But yeah. So we dropped it
Oh.
off, gave it to this nice gentleman down south. Everyone's really nice down south. He was
Yeah.
69 and he's gonna retire and just go off in a van, and that was sick. So
Oh,
Good on
nice.
him, dude. Took a $9,000 loss on that, but that's all right. We had a lot of fun
Well,
in it.
that's like rent.
It was like
That's
rent. It was like
right.
cost of doing
'Cause how long did you
well.
live in it? 6 months.
Yeah, 6 or 8, but that's the $9,000 loss just in parts,
Oh,
not in time spent.
oh,
But that's
labor.
okay too, in labor. But that's all right because it was fun. It was
Oh,
fun to
nice,
build
dude.
the van, and so yes.
Oh, cool, dude. That's awesome. Awesome, dude.
Nice. That was my weekend, and then we drove there 9.5 hours, and then flew home. And I'll tell you,
Oh, you flew. Oh, true.
flew home. Flying's a lot faster. Flying
Yeah.
is about an hour and 20 minutes.
Right.
So that was cool though. It was a great weekend. It was hot. It was really,
Mm.
really. It was about 95 degrees sleeping Saturday night in the back of the van. We never did the
Oh.
van in the summer.
Oh, that's a stinky.
I fell
Minky, dude.
asleep dripping sweat.
Oh.
You don't want to do that. Speaking of which, I just bought a $4,000 mattress. 8 Sleep. Shout out 8 Sleep.
Oh, sick.
Never gonna sweat in my sleep again.
Oh,
So that gets delivered next week. We'll check in on how that goes.
that's awesome, dude. Yeah, that reminds me of when I spontaneously flew to Costa Rica because I didn't like my haircut, and I ended up going there without any AC, and it was 100 degrees out, and I woke up with a giant fucking bug on my face, and I almost killed myself.
I will
And
say.
okay,
Oh, you have more to say?
I had an and in there.
Yes,
It was
and
kind of
dude. Yes,
yeah.
and it.
I just wanted to say like where I swam, like so when we arrived to this place, we arrived in the back on a little riverboat because you had to get here by a fucking riverboat. There was a giant crocodile eating like a turtle or something, like fucking prehistoric creature. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of scary. I don't really want to go on the water on like the beach side because there's a crocodile like really close. He's like, nah, dude, crocs don't come over here. My dad sent me a photo like 2 weeks ago. That was just a giant crocodile like right outside our house. And I'm like,
Yes.
okay, my bad. That was my end, dude. That was my end.
My and was what were we talking about?
Oh, I thought you were
Going to
gonna
hot places.
remember.
Here's my and. Fans are actually an unbelievable invention. Because I bet you had a fan in Costa Rica. I had a little battery powered fan about this big that I was able to point on my face to sleep. You could do a lot of cooling work if you've got a fan. It's all about getting that air moving. And I know you did a short once. Actually, I think it was a clip from this podcast.
It was a clip, dude. That might have caused us to go viral.
About
I really
fans.
liked that clip and it didn't do well.
Yeah, they seem to be really efficient at cooling things down. So that was my and. But
hold on, let me end on top of that.
And squared?
Yeah.
And
when so you think fans are just for cooling, right?
Right.
That's a great use for them. What I didn't realize is when I studied abroad in Argentina, because I did that, cultured, I did a homestay. And in that homestay, we stayed in the city. But what I didn't realize is like, I don't know if Buenos Aires is a swamp or it was a swamp. What's the Aires? But every night I'd sleep, we were like 12 floors up. I'd get fucking destroyed by mosquitoes. Absolutely destroyed. And I thought I just had to live this way. That was going to be my 6 months. But what I didn't realize is you put a fan near your face and they get all wafted around and the mosquitoes can't bite you. So cools you down and keeps you safe from mosquitoes.
You want to and cube and to the fourth?
Oh, yeah.
So you sent me this video this weekend of a guy taking a quarter and he cut it up and he turned the quarter into a ring. And I don't know if we're going to play this. We're probably not going to play it. And it's probably not going to be in the show notes. So you're just going to have to envision a guy like cutting a quarter and turning it into a ring that a human would wear. And I really like that video because I told you, well, one, I said that's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. But, big but, that is also what I plan to do with all of my time after we make money and I buy a house.
Yeah.
So how this is in the reason being, I just want to tinker on stupid shit like that.
Mm.
Now, how this was an and to the fourth is I wanted to tell you about my guilty pleasure of late,
Oh.
which is so as a kid, I always watched these like Fast and Loud, these car shows, Fast and Loud,
Mm.
Counting Cars, Discovery Channel, History Channel.
Ah, yeah.
These were like really buttoned up network television, like these guys renovating cars and like getting them to start. And it's so dramatic. Like, are they going to get them to start and whatnot? What I've been watching lately is this new genre of video I found on YouTube. And it's just these rednecks doing what they call Will It Start? And I'm getting to the end to the fourth.
Yeah.
With the Will It Start videos, they'll just like go into the not the jungle, but like deep parts of their
Oh.
farms, and they'll find these like decrepit cars or trucks or planes. And I like these guys because they'll put out a 2-hour YouTube video going through all the nooks and crannies of
Mhm.
how to get these old vehicles to
Mhm.
start. And it's so much better than that kind of like buttoned up Discovery Channel, History Channel. Because
Mhm.
these guys will be like, hey, I got to nerd out a little bit. These guys will be like, they'll come on camera and they'll be like, okay, a motor only need 3 things to start moving. It need air, fire, and fuel. Air, fuel, and fire. and then and then they'll just like there's nothing fancy about it. They'll just like throw a bunch of
Mm.
like gasoline in the carburetor. They're like air and fuel, and they'll just like jam as much air and fuel in there. And then if they're not getting a spark, fire in the engine, they'll hook up like 10 batteries to get as much electric going into the thing as possible. And they'll just crank on these things. And anyway, and to the fourth was I've been watching them start up a lot of airplanes. And that's
Oh,
the other
nice.
thing fans can do is they can produce lift. So
Oh, nice. Turbo fan, dude.
yeah,
That's
the
sick.
turbo fan. But that's what I've been spending a lot of my time doing, watching Will It Start. It's cool.
Oh.
I feel like I'm learning. So my last point is once we make enough money, I'm also going to be doing a lot of that, which is just
Right.
going and dude,
Um,
fuel, fire, and air. And
dude,
I
that'd be
like how
sick
simple
if
they
you
make it.
you
I
turned
like
into
how
Jim
simple they
Bob and
make
you
it.
just that,
Fuel,
um
air in
what
my
I used to watch
vehicle.
there, like the people that everyone's watched the things of like the guys in the jungle like digging out little huts or like
Yeah,
making
it's
their
kind
own
of like that.
palaces. Well, I found a similar channel to that, which was like the Indonesian version of your redneck thing, where it'd just be like a guy's going by a junkyard and he sees like a really old boat, and he's like, I wonder if I can just make this a sick fan boat. And it's just this giant fan boat ripping down, like it might have been the Philippines, honestly. Um, it was just really cool seeing them restore it. Like it's really
Isn't that
rusty, and they
amazing?
get like the power washer and like de-rust it, and like the metal is still good on the under the surface. It's just like really satisfying to watch. You don't have to do any of the work, so you get all the upside, no
You
downside.
right. I feel like I get all the upside because then when it starts, it's like I feel like an addict. Like
Mm.
like you're like gambling watching the video, and then they get it to start. It's like, and then you're just like, fuck yeah, dude. I'm so happy that guy got that thing to
2 hours
start.
in.
But I think it's cool because look, like the and I'm gonna make this smart. The paradigm was there were only 2 shows I knew like that on Discovery Channel and History Channel. And they didn't actually show you like how these guys got the thing to start. And it actually wasn't that impressive because they were like putting all new parts in these cars. Like, of course it was going to start.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just
Right.
like fake tension that the networks were building. But there are like so many YouTubers that with no like barrier to entry can just like
Right.
go to an Indonesian junkyard and like turn something into something else, and then millions of people will watch it. That's so cool.
Well, it's kind of like the Casey vlogs, how it doesn't feel like anything special. You're just watching a dude's life.
Right, but it's cool that there can be like 50 Caseys,
Right.
but
Right. Right.
there could only be one on network television.
Well, that's That's what I want this podcast to be. It's
Oh,
like, ugh.
oh,
Oh, dude, I got a thread that connects
future
to something
tense
smart. You
wants
want?
it to be.
I caught it. So so last night I couldn't really read. I tried to read and I fell asleep. But one of the nights before that, I was reading more of the Tyler Cowan, his transcripts. This one was with Mark
That guy
Andreessen.
has the craziest podcast I've ever heard in my life.
He's just a boring person. What can you say?
And
Oh, and he's just asped out.
he asks the craziest, biggest like questions that nobody actually has time to ponder.
Right.
And then
Like,
I
you're gonna
listen
put
to the
me on
one
the spot
with
with
Paul
that?
Graham. He's 10 times Paul Graham is like, stop asking me these questions. I don't know.
Right. Can we just have a normal conversation? Well, one of the questions, this guy, what I like is it's just rapid fire, like out of the blue questions, so it's like entertaining to read. And one of these is, hey, Mark Andreessen, guy who basically built the internet, or like Internet Explorer, Netscape, whatever that was. He's like one of the smartest dudes ever. He asked him, he's like, Peter Thiel, what makes him the best judge of talent? Because that's what everyone says Peter Thiel is the greatest at. He's just like, he can recognize people's superpower and like put them in place to like capitalize on that. And Mark Andreessen's like, hey, I thought about it. Like, what's his approach? Would that work if I applied it to my life? I don't know, maybe. But like, what's better than filtering talent, like figuring out who the best is out of this big batch? He's actually the best in the world at attracting talent. So like, take Stanford, for example. When he was a student, he wrote the Stanford Review, which was like the one right-wing newspaper in a world of like super left Stanford people. So it just attracted the people that were like against normal culture. Same thing with when he puts out that thing that's like, hey, we wanted flying cars and all we got was 140 characters. Like, he just puts out these bat signals to the world. It's like anyone that agrees, like, oh shit, our future isn't what we were promised. Now he attracts all the people that are building the flying cars or are like thinking differently than the mob. So he's the best in the world at doing that with founders funds, etc. So I just thought it's the same. Like, hold on, let me connect the threads. The threads are there.
There's so much time.
What?
There's so much time. There's no rush to connect a thread.
Oh, okay. Thanks, dude. Thanks for taking the pressure valve. Just opening that puppy up. Basically,
Thiel.
Well, I was thinking that's what I want this to be.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, I like, it's kind of like when oh, dude, I didn't even expect this thread to come out.
No, see all the time.
37 Signals, Jason Fried and David Heinemeier Hansen, when they're like, hey, all these companies have mission statements, but like your mission statement, your values aren't really values unless there's some sort of compromise, some sort of sacrifice. It's like, everyone's like, we want integrity. It's like, yeah, integrity, but like, everyone wants that, obviously. Like, what's the cost of that? It's like, easy.
Respect.
Give an example. Can't give an example.
Too. Yeah. What would
but
the,
like the
what
perfection,
would
like
example
our
of
thing,
the compromise
perfection through
be?
iteration, not revision. Perfection through iteration, not revision. So it's like compromising perfection.
We want
right
perfection.
Yeah. More iterations. But like, just having, I don't know. I like being radical because it just like, it attracts the perfect person. And then like your job is super easy because it's just like, hey, I already brought everyone in. So he basically just like puts out these essays, gives these speeches, and then just hangs out with whoever's like is attracted to that, and then just talks to them. And they happen to be the most talented people that like think differently. So I like that approach. Maybe like as you're making rings with your rednecks, that maybe I want to write essays about. I don't know if I actually want to write essays, but I like the idea of just like voicing radical opinions and seeing who shows up. I got another thread if it's connected to that. So kind of this question that we liked, this hiring question that I think, was it Jeremy Giffen? Did he come up with this? Where it's like, hey, say there's the most popular nightclub and you have to get in.
Yeah.
How do you do it? Sort of the similar question that's too taboo to ask, but it's like, say there's like the perfect girl. She's like rich, a 10, and super smart and athletic. It's like, okay, what's your method of like making her your wife or whatever? I would like to see how people problem solve that, because every time I think like I don't know, driving to the box, I just see all these people like in the street going to these nightclubs, and it's like super expensive to get in, and it's like very statusy, and like you don't really talk to people in there. It's just like vibe. It's just like a game that I wouldn't like to play, or probably because I would lose that game. So I'm like, oh, I want to play a different game. And it's just like it'd be an interesting thought exercise of like how would you get that person if you had to? And most people would be like, oh, I just try and make the most money possible, but like even that won't work.
Sam Parr has a good one,
Yeah.
I think, that he did himself, which was like, you just have to be the most interesting person you can be. Or,
Yeah.
you just have to be really interesting. And in order to be
Right.
interesting, you have to do exciting and novel and adventurous stuff.
Right.
You just have to have like a good story to tell. So,
Well,
that's a
that's
good
what
one.
I like. Because coming from like the dating pickup artist world, like it's kind of like the short term version of like how do you hack this and seem really cool and like tell interesting stories, like no matter how interesting your life is. But like the longer term, more sustainable version of that is actually have that dope life and then layer on just being able to like talk about it. Like you don't even have to be good at talking about it if your life is naturally that interesting. So kind of what I'm circling back to is like I would just live the coolest life and like have your bat signals up at all times, and then like
Dude,
the hot
boxed,
moss will come.
Arkansas, rings. Will it start?
Um,
That's a pretty cool weekend, if you
Oh,
ask
okay.
me.
Was this the weekend summary episode?
This was the weekend summary episode.
Nice,
Evergreen
dude.
content, we call that.
Gardeloo!